All right, let's get into this Joe Budden and Drake shit real quick. Now, I'm going to start this off by kind of addressing and taking up where we left off last time, right? So last time I told you that Drake actually messaged me, right? Let me just get a little thumbnail. Drake, Lil Yachty. So Drake actually messaged me, and he was asking honestly, like, yo, bro, like, don't tell me like you salty because I ain't call into your stream. And I had to really tell him, like, yeah, I really wasn't salty about that. Like, I actually had a long conversation with Drake, and I did tell him, I said, listen, to be honest, if there was going to be something I'm salty about, and I guess I kind of am salty about this other thing, but that's not what made me say this, but this is a long time ago. I said, when I asked you for tickets to your show and you went ghost, yeah, I'll be more salty over that than you calling in, because, nigga, you're the one who called me the night before, so I didn't give a fuck, right? Anyway, after I mentioned it on stream, I talked to Yachty. And again, I'm going to be doing Yachty's show at some point. But Yachty made a few good points, and I made a few good points in return to him. I'll give you the gist of the conversation. I can't tell you everything. Essentially, Yachty was like this. Yo, Ak, I don't know why people are thinking that Drake's direction is kind of being forced upon them by him, and I'm doing that to Drake. Like, this is him telling me verbatim. He's like, yo, Ak, I'm gonna just be honest with you. Like, I know you might not think I'm like begging, like that type of Drake fan like you, but shit, I love when this nigga raps. I wanted him to do a little bit more of that. He's his own man. He's picking his direction. He's saying, Yachty, I want to do this. So that's a misconception. So he was saying, essentially, people think that I am the person who's making Drake do A, B, or C. He's like, no, Drake is the person who is his own man. He's my brother, and he's picking what he wants to do. Okay? So if you hear any influence or whatever you think, he's making these decisions, which was actually interesting. Okay? Secondly, he said, and by the way, he said a bunch of stuff. I can't tell you everything. But secondly, he said, Ak, you know what does get me irritated? That people like to give me the blame for anything they don't like with Drake. But there are things that they like that I have helped influence or mold, and I've helped. I sent him the beat to blah 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 song, right? I'm the one who kind of got him on that beat, and people love this song or love this shit, and nobody ever says, oh, thank you, Yachty, for doing that good thing. But if it's anything that seems to be negative, if they have a criticism, they immediately jump to me. And for him, I guess he was just saying, that's not fair. Just like if you're going to give me credit, if you're going to give me all the blame, give me a little bit of credit too. Now, I did tell him, I said, yo, just unfortunately, brother, which, by the way, he wasn't looking for, like, accolades or, like, credit, whatever. I said, dog, we look at Drake as the greatest. We're never going to give you credit for anything that we find good. We're probably going to give you the blame for everything wrong. We're probably going to give you none of the credit for things we find good. Is that fucked up? Yes. But is it because Drake is a rarefied artist? Absolutely yes. Now, he's pretty much understanding what that is, but I'm not, I think it bothers him a little bit. It bothers him a little bit, but he's not going to go out of his way to try to prove people wrong. But I do think when y'all keep saying that Yachty has ruined Drake, Yachty is doing this, I think on his perspective is, no, I'm not ruining Drake. Bro, Drake's my friend. We collaborate. We do great things. Like, shit. He listens to my music. I listen to his. You get what I mean? Like, he told me actually a really dope story about how Secret Recipe came about. I don't even want to, like step toes on it, his story. I'm going to leave it for him to tell another point. But even how J. Cole got on it. Because I flat out asked him, I'm like, yo, bro. I'm like, dog, why you ain't, like, if Drake is twin and all that type of shit, why aren't you sending that track to Drake? He gave me a whole story about it. I'm like, oh, shit, that's kind of interesting. So, again, having that conversation with Boat made me understand and realize a lot about not only their friendship, their work relationship, but also what you think, you know what I mean, might not be reality. Because I think we're all kind of going under this assumption like Lil Yachty has hijacked the studio from Drake, and Drake is looking at him like, yo, bro, you're the youth, tell me what to do, and he's steering Drake down a road you don't like. So that's what that is. Anyway, Joe Budden finally responded back to Drake. Let me see. He finally responded back to Drake. And this was a long one, okay? Give me a second. All right. Here we go. So this is Joe responding to Drake's DM and other things. Listen carefully. By the way, if you guys are watching this is from Joe Budden's podcast. He has a Patreon. This was a Patreon episode. That's my man's. I respect him, and I'm playing this to have some commentary on it. If you do want to support him, please go subscribe to his Patreon, okay? Please.
That's what he said to you?
Who said
that?
Drake said that. Do y'all?
Hey, by the way, can I give credit to someone on Joe Budden's podcast? Ice. Hey, Joe, me and Joe was on the phone today. Joe, I forgot to tell you this, and I know you watch, like, you know, my recaps and stuff like that, especially if I mention you or whatever. What I forgot to tell you today, and I know, absolutely I know, like, y'all gonna say I'm biased because I didn't like these two guys. Yo, Ish and Ice, or Ice and Ish, whatever way you want to call that duo, they're amazing on this podcast for such different reasons. When it comes to musical conversations, I don't really listen to Ish, right? Like, he's a really logical guy, but he's not all the way in tune culturally with what's going on, especially music. Ice is. And I'm going to be honest with you, that boy Ice be on point. He be on point a lot, or even if I disagree with him, his passion comes across the right way, because one thing I never liked with Ruri and Millie Mall, them niggas were fence sitters unless Joe said something. They only reacted when Joe had an opinion. That's when they would lean on one side. He has an opinion, and I actually really like him on the pod. And I ain't gonna lie, Ice, you've been killing it since you've been killing it since, you know, these new set of music came out, because you're batting a... See, that's cap. So Drake messages Joe and says, keep listening to whatever in your free time, because the people who I care about their opinions, they don't... Let me hear that point again.
Holy shit.
Here we go.
Keeping music. I don't give a fuck what you listen to in your free time.
I don't care what you listen to in your free time.
Because the people's opinion I care about.
Because the people's opinions I care about.
Don't have free time.
Don't have free time. That, I'll be honest with you, I think Drake is capping. I think even though Drake has done the podcast of the Caleb Presleys or the Bobby Althoffs, and nothing against them doing an interview with him, but Drake very much cares about the hip-hop audience perception of him. Because Drake is a very smart and astute guy. Influence comes from within the culture. If we've never seen, like, you know what I mean, the fringe part of societies consider something cool and then the hood consider it cool later. It's usually the hood, or, like, you know what I mean, some type of urban or core type of, you know, what we usually call the culture, that usually deems something as cool, trendy, and then everybody else adopts. So when he says the people whose opinion I care about don't have free time, that's him capping, because he absolutely cares about Joe's opinion if he's responding to Joe. That's not a joke. This is what makes Joe great. Because Joe, like, some of the things that would get the rest of the room tense, he'll laugh off. I don't know if y'all think Drake is just throwing in a hint of, you know, it could go there, as like it's a joke. I don't think Drake is saying that at all. Drake is well aware that he's one of the most powerful men on this planet. He's one of the most powerful men in music, and he moves like the fucking president. He's also aware that not only does he have security, but he has probably 100 people who will do anything, even without him saying it, just to appease him. So when, and he kind of said the same sentiment to me a little bit. He said, yo, Joe just don't, it's like, Joe got to know when you say shit like that about me, there's a lot of people that would do shit behind that. You know what I mean? Read into that how you want. You feel me? You could think like, nah, it's just Drake. Nah, nigga. Nah. You listen, you know what I mean? It's not just Drake.
I don't. But
this is why Joe's great, though. That mild little threat in there, he just waved off. And now he's just trying to talk about Drake drugging women by incorrectly interpreting his lyrics. We're going to get there, David Christian. Whoa, don't jump the gun, my boy. By the way,